like your jacket.
Yeah, I got it at TJ Maxx last year for like $18. I was going to a Christmas party, and you had to wear an ugly Christmas sweater. And I was like, well, I don't want to just be basic and get like a normal ugly Christmas sweater. So I go to TJ Maxx, and this gym is just sitting there waiting for me to buy it. And I saw it, and I'm like, well, it's kind of a jacket, and it's got a hood on it and a zipper and these little things. So I said, I have to get that, and I can wear it, a lot. So especially around Christmas time.
Honestly, that's unbelievable that you only got that for $18. I wouldn't just wear that around Christmas time. I think I'd wear that for Halloween. I'd wear it
something like that.
And then I think I'd just start putting it into my everyday attire, and then eventually, like that's just Ace's normal jacket or Nate's normal jacket.
Something like that.
Well,
I guess we'll go ahead and we'll start this off real quick. Welcome to the Mind of a Coach podcast. This is episode 16. My man Nate, how you doing, sir?
Living the dream. I'm in Akron. I'm getting like one of my first white Christmases. So, yeah. So happy holidays to everybody out there. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are enjoying.
It's snowing up there.
It is snowing. I'm not used to that. So
yeah.
Last year I got a little bit of it though.
I think we've had like one. I think before college there was like one white Christmas that we had.
One. I can only recall one because that was the year that my parents decided to get me a snowball, like one of those things where it like crunches the snowball and makes a perfect snowball, and you like throw it, like it's like a little like plastic thing, and you like throw it. And my parents just got me it that year, and it just happened to snow. It was perfect timing, I guess.
Did you hit anybody with your snowballs?
Probably not.
No,
probably not. I tried probably.
I wish we had some snow. It's super cold. We need to have snow. It rained last night, but obviously it's the South in Nashville, so snow is off the table for Christmas.
Yeah, it'll probably rain and then ice.
Yeah,
that's probably what'll happen.
Yo, real quick, tell us about the weekend. Y'all had a good game this past weekend.
Our guys are playing a lot harder. Not harder, but like they're playing harder, and. When you play hard, good things happen. And so the guys got to see that they can compete with a Division I team, even as a Division II school. Basketball is basketball at the end of the day. And so every single person's got to strap on their shoes the same way, tie them up, and, get out on the court and play. No one just gets freebies. So it would have been nice to steal one from ETSU, but credit to them. They when they could have folded because inferior by quotes opponent came in. They didn't, and they were able to hold through. But really proud of our guys.
Yeah, dude. I thought y'all played really good. I thought y'all played really, really good. I got to watch some of it, so I thought it was good. Really, all right, everybody. We really want to just come on and talk real quick. We have the second part of our interview with Mario Moore coming up this podcast. We just wanted to get on here, tell everybody Merry Christmas. Hope y'all have a happy holidays. Enjoy some time with your family. Relax a little bit. Kick back. Don't stress out. Everything's going to be okay. We appreciate y'all tuning in. 2020 has been, obviously it's been different, but it hasn't been all bad, Nate. It really hasn't.
No, I mean, who would have known that the Mind of a Coach podcast was going to be started?
Exactly. It's been fun, dude. It's been fun. 2020 is actually, it's been a blast. It really has. It's been a blast. It's been a pleasure to do this with you. And again, everybody that's out there listening, we appreciate it. We can't thank you enough. Just tell somebody. If you like it, tell somebody. You know what I always say, Nate. If you love it, tell your family and friends. If you hate it, tell everybody.
Absolutely.
We just want people to listen, and hopefully we can teach somebody something, even if something small along the way. But we appreciate y'all for being a part of this journey with us. I know it's been fun for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go off what Asa just said, please, your funniest Christmas story. I know this has nothing to do with basketball, but we are very interested. Leave it in the comments below. Hit us up with it. We want to know your funniest family event that happened over Christmas or whatever happened on Christmas. Funniest moment that has happened.
Please. Absolutely. We would love that.
But anyway, without further ado, let's get into this part 2, episode 16 with Mario Moore. And I can 3 might be my favorite, Asa. Might be my favorite, Mario, because I mean, we've heard how many coaches have come on here and said build relationships. I mean, obviously our first guest, Coach Rutiliano, he said it, but we've had time and time again build relationships, and I'll say it till the day I die. I mean, the moments that I remember are when Coach Eastrom helped me out in a tough in a tough moment in my life. When Coach R and Coach Draben helped me out in a tough moment. When not that I didn't love playing for Casey because Casey was honestly the best X's and O's coach, and he's helped me so much to this day.
Mhm.
But like some of the conversations that I've had after playing with him have been phenomenal. And it's just, it's so important for us as coaches, I think right now, and I don't have it all figured out, but as coaches right now to understand that
I certainly do not have it all figured out.
We certainly do not. That's why we have you
And
on.
that's the beauty of it, though.
It's okay. It's okay to acknowledge. It's okay to acknowledge that too.
Like, right, and for any basketball player, any person in life, like, don't look left, don't look right, keep your blinders on, go straight. I think everybody in the age of social media, in the age of like, in the spirit of competition, you look left, you look right, and you say, man, this person got a coaching job and I'm smarter than him, and this guy got a scholarship and I'm better than him. I just gave him 30 last week, and it's just like, stay right here.
Yeah.
Stay focused.
What's the saying? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes, it is.
Joy, man. You got to run your own race.
Yeah.
You got to run your own race. You got to know your time is coming. You know, what's meant for you will be for you, but you got to run your own race. I think so many kids get caught up in, like, you know, worrying about all the stuff they can't control instead of controlling what you can control. Yeah. Control what you can control. Keep your blinders on. Work hard every single day, and I guarantee you there will be a good result that comes out of it.
Yeah. And I'm just going off relationships again. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What were you saying?
No, you good. Go ahead.
I'm just coming from relationships again. It's just funny because, I mean, I spent 5 years with my coaches. Most of my coaches. Coach Evans, I had 1 year. Coach Adam Jones, I had for 2. But I mean, the majority, Coach Adam Nottaboom, I had him, I guess, for 3. But for the most part, my coaches were there for 4 or 5 years. And the things that I remember have nothing to do with basketball. I mean, honestly, it means more to me to not talk to Coach Alexander about basketball, but the fact that he sent me a happy birthday text.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, it's cool, man. It's like, I can't tell you, like, yeah, we'll get to talking basketball, but like a lot of times, like, I don't mention basketball. Like, I don't talk about basketball as much.
It's really cool. It's really cool when you're done to see, like, that side of the coach that you can't really see as a player.
Yeah, because you think, you like, man, why is this guy so hard on me? Why is this guy?
And especially now being a coach, because some of it makes sense, and you're like, oh, all right, like that.
Yeah, and Asa, to go off that
now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying it now, like, you know, with our former coaches, now Nate, you and I are in the same profession as them, right? So it's like now we have a whole nother level that we can go to.
Yes, and it's I think it's so valuable to reflect on it too, to look at it. Okay, this was my view at the time. Looking back on it, it's like I probably should have had some more grace during that moment, because I mean, one thing that I absolutely love that we did at Lipscomb under Coach Alexander is that we got to know every single person. Like, so he made us take a test, Mario, of every single person on the team's name, where they came from, city and state, and their siblings and parents. Now, at the time, it's like, dude, why do we have to do this? Maybe.
Yeah, it was like, are you kidding me?
Like, I know where all my teammates are from. I know so much more about my team. I can ask questions to them, or questions about them, like their life. Like and now at times, like, you don't want to have to force people to love somebody, but if you can make somebody care even a little more by putting them in situations too. I mean, I thought it was one of the best practices that we did, honestly.
And think about it. Think about it in the climate we're in right now in this world, in this country. Think about it. What is the one thing that's just like, man, like, you know, everybody comes together and they watch sports. Mm-hmm. Different races, different. Yeah. It's the
biggest unifier in the.
It's a unifier, and it's such a life teacher, right? And so, like, basketball brings you to know somebody that you never would have, like, come across, and like now you friends with this guy from this neighborhood, right? That, like, you didn't come from, but now you understand a different world, and it gives you more perspective on the world when you're dealing with somebody now that you're coaching, right? So now you can talk to that guy and say, hey man, I may not understand everything, but, you know, I have friends and I have people that are close in my circle that I deal with that, you know, have been through the same thing. You know what I mean? And I'm here to love and help and understand. You know what I mean? And so once you get into that realm and you start tapping into to that.
I mean, my biggest example would be the fact that I got to room with Hassan my 5th year. And Hassan is not one that talks a lot to a lot of people. Now, he does talk to people. I've heard him on the phone plenty.
Hassan was in that room, Nate, your 5th year? He was
my roommate on road trips.
Oh, okay.
Every single road trip I roomed with Hassan. And I'm so glad that I got put with Hassan because, like, I love that kid to death. I mean, I love Hassan to death. I mean, he's my little big brother. That's the way I look at him. But go ahead.
Yeah, I remember one time in high school, we were talking. Me and a friend were talking about James McPherson, and I was like taking James out to lunch one time. I just wanted to talk to him, pick his brains a little bit, see where his head was at. And my friend made a comment like, well, you wouldn't care about him if it wasn't for basketball. And I'm like, it kind of came off weird. And I was like, yeah, but there's so many people that, you're right, I wouldn't care about if it wasn't for basketball. He said it in a negative light, but to me, it was a positive. It's like, yeah.
You were saying because of basketball, I get to care about him and know about him more.
I care about this kid. I care about so many people.
I get to bridge the gap. I get to get to know somebody that probably in a million years I would probably never talk to. I would see him on the street, I'd pass him, and I keep going.
Yeah. Like Hassan, so I didn't know about his brother Marcus, and I would never have known about his brother Marcus because Hassan, Asa, he's not one that's going to talk much. Yeah. And the fact that we got to do that little quiz, I got to know about his brother Marcus. I got to know about his mom and dad and his sisters. And these are things that I wouldn't got to know about. And it's not like when I know I can talk a bunch and like I'm talking now, but like when we were rooming together, I loved his company. We would talk, we would laugh for a little bit, and then we would just do our own thing. And it was so comfortable. It's like, like when you're married or when you're in a relationship, I don't know. You're sitting. Okay. Well, maybe.
I'm tracking with you.
Okay. So when you're in these relationships, it's the moments where you can just be with somebody. That's the comfortableness around it. And I'm not saying Hassan and I were together. What I'm saying is that like, it's that comfortableness. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my wife, if I'm just in the presence of my wife, I am having a great day. I'm having a great day. Just she's right beside me. I feel comfortable. If I was in the presence with Hassan, it was just like, man, like we're brothers. Like this is fun. Like I'd rather be in this room, not talking to you right now than by myself, not doing anything or doing whatever.
I completely understand. It's important to get to know people, man. If I can ever say anything about teams, the teams that exceed expectation are the teams that really tap in and get to know each other, and they're friends. You know what I mean? They're friends on and off the court.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is what you just said, friends. I mean, one thing that was so funny about my 5th year is how how unserious the serious was. And when I say that, I'm going to try to explain it and make sense of it. When I say how unserious the seriousness was, is we were so bought in and locked in to winning games and playing for each other and loving each other that when we got out and did layup lines with 50 minutes left to go before a game, like, that first moment when you go out and you go back in a lot, or we like had like 10 minutes of just shooting around, and then we started our stretching and everything.
Yeah.
We literally for 5 or 10 minutes, Mario, we called them like, it was basically like a goofy line. Like we would get in 2 lines, layup lines, and we would try to do the dumbest, stupidest stuff. And I know stupidest is not a word. The most stupid stuff that we could do. So like somebody,
break the ice.
Would be upset if you just did something normal. Like if you just did a right-handed layup in our layup lines with 50 minutes to go, it's like, no, that's not our code. Like that's not who we are. Like we love each other. We have fun with each other. We're going to keep doing this. All right. Do a 360 from the free throw line and don't touch rim.
but see, that's what. But like, if you watch now, like if you watch the Lakers and you watch the Warriors and you watch them do like the ball stuff, and Steph Curry does the golf stuff, and it's just like, those types of things is like icebreakers. We're here for business, but
and you can't have too much. You can't have too much
fun though.
But you have to, because basketball is a fun sport.
Have to have fun. Good teams that win have fun. I can't think of a team ever in history that I've seen that was just all business.
There's
like when you pros, it's a little different because you pay to do that, and but like but even then, the teams that rise to the top are the teams that really enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, I mean, you even look at the Spurs. I mean, you would think Greg Popovich is the perfect example of all business all the time. He is messing around all the time. Like when he fouled, we needed to hack a Shaq 1 minute or 30 seconds, 15 seconds into the first game of the season. When Manu Ginobili is over there, or it was Tony Parker that put a cup under Tim Duncan's butt or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they're messing with each other. Now they're not going to capture all of it, but like they're still doing it. They're having fun. They're loose, and that's why they're succeeding at such a high level.
Yeah, it's big, man.
At least
you
in part.
You gotta have fun, and anything you do, coaching, playing, coaching staff's gotta have a good time together. Have that.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, you gotta trust the guy who's doing the scouting report, who got the scouting report this night. You gotta trust, that. Everything matters. You got to trust the guy that books the hotel rooms and food there on time. Like everybody has a part to do, right? No matter how where you feel like you should be, do your part. Bring what you bring to the table so that this works for everybody.
Yep. Accept your role, be an all-star at your role. We've heard that.
And to quote the bars of Joe Budden, he said, no matter who you are, the right system can turn a role player into a superstar. And that like always has stuck with me. It's just like you're right, like the right system can.
Joey B, baby, first time Joey B's getting a shout out on the podcast.
I gotta be honest. Does that need to be our quote for Mario on this one?
The right system can turn a role player into a superstar.
Or do I have to put Joe Budden? Because
you got to do the Michael Scott thing. Remember that like you have to do Joe Budden and then like Mario Moore.
Cross it out and put Mario Moore.
No, but I it's so important, man. Like, I think if you accept your role and you're really good at your role, good things happen.
Sayings as a coach that I really liked, and I want you to elaborate on them. The first one you always said a lot. You said mental is to physical as 4 is to 1. And then the second one you had was when opportunity knocks, most people are in the backyard looking for 4-leaf clovers. Elaborate on those a little bit, because those were something that stuck with me along the way, and I think there's a lot of truth to those two sayings right there. So elaborate on those.
We always had thoughts of the day before practice.
Teamwork makes the dream work. That one.
So it was just like with 4, mental is the physical, as 4 is the 1. Is everybody thinks that basketball is just this physical, up and down game, but the really good players, the really good teams are well coached and they're mentally prepared, meaning they're locked into a scouting report. They know every play that is, a play they're calling. They know every tendency of a player, right? And then, but the other side of that is mentally what it takes to be a student athlete, right? You got class, you got all of this weights, you got practice, just to get to a game. You have being hurt. You have playing. You remember I used to tell you is the difference between being hurt and being injured.
Yeah.
I used to tell you that.
True. And that's true.
So that all of these mental things, you have to prepare yourself because it's a long season. It's a grind. And once you think of everything that you have to do to get to game day, you're usually mentally exhausted. Right? To get to a Wednesday night game, to get to a Saturday night game. I used to have labs on Wednesday night and we have SEC games. I had a lab. So I'm running from my lab to the game. Missed my pre-game meal and had it boxed up. All of these things, just you have to mentally prepare yourself. And the mental aspect is so much more important than the physical aspect, in my opinion. Yeah, you can, and it goes to show, and I don't mean this in any way of disrespect, but when coach, you would go and watch, hey man, there was nobody in the world that thought y'all were gonna win that game at the state. Nobody in the world. It was like, man, ain't no way these white boys about to come in here and beat black men, ain't it?
Yeah.
Y'all were mentally prepared.
Yeah.
Y'all coach was mentally prepared.
Yep.
And the more mentally prepared team won. Y'all executed and you won. That means so much. Like I can't explain it. Like if you're not mentally prepared for the moment,
yes,
it'll be a disaster.
Gosh, I hope I don't interrupt, Asa.
Go ahead.
Or Mario. you hit you were talking about mentally being prepared, and you said one word, and it's gonna get me off. It's gonna get me off tangent real quick. You said execution. Golly, I mean, it takes 100% execution to pull off a win like that, doesn't it?
Execution, man, is so important. Like I was watching a women's college basketball game yesterday. Like, so I went to UTA's basketball game yesterday because my former college D Davis,
right?
D Davis, who was at Tennessee State, is now coaching at UTA. So I went to the game yesterday, and I'm just like,
she's awesome, by the way. She's awesome.
I'm sitting in the game, and this is where I fix my basketball itches now. So I'm like sitting over there coaching on the sideline. I'm like, God, that was a terrible drag screen. Like I'm like doing stuff like that. Like, I'm seeing somebody help on the backside. I'm like, skip the ball. Yes. You know what I mean? But like, it's just the small things. Like, they were playing a team that they should have beat handily, and they struggled for a little bit. And it was only because they were not executing. Like, the coach will call a play, and you a second late, inch off where you're supposed to set the screen. Some you don't, pin down at the right time. Like, it messes up everything. Execution is important. Execution is important with your game plan as a coach, how you deliver that message to the team. Execution is important for the point guard, your defensive scheme. You got to execute.
Let me stop you real quick, and let me a little quick tangent too for me as well. A lot of these kids, speaking of mental toughness and execution, how they coincide and correlate together. A lot of these kids, I feel like, have a skewed view of what toughness is. Right? Every kid is like, oh well, he says something about so and so, I got to step to him, right? Yep. Something like that. But they don't understand that executing your assignment is tough. That is toughness. Not letting a guy knock you out of your spot. Not you running your offense despite what that is really what toughness is. At least it's hard in college basketball. It's not, oh, I'm gonna be a man and I'm gonna, or rah rah rah. This
boxing out.
Toughness is being disciplined.
Yes.
Toughness is
boxing out.
It's thinking and
executing a play. When a coach calls a play,
that's what toughness is.
Last play of the half. We don't have any. We don't want to burn a timeout right here. We're going to execute this play in order to go into half and have some momentum going into half.
Did you watch
run a play because
who lost the other day? It was a top 10 game, or a top 10 team got upset, but it was like a free throw box out at the end of the game, and the guy just taps it in for the win. I forget who it
was. It was. Hang on, I can pull it up.
The reason I'm saying this is like. Who was that? The reason I'm saying this is like that kid got whooped so bad on that free throw box out.
Yeah, just bring it to him.
And I just remember being in film and coaches like, do you think this is tough? And he just freeze the screen. Do you think this is tough?
Yeah.
Do you think your first two steps were tough? I'm like, what do you mean your first two steps? Do you think these first two steps are you really getting back on defense?
Yeah.
You really think this is the effort that's going to win us a game?
Yeah.
Do you really think that, you not fighting through the screen, like those are the tough things? Yeah. Fighting through a screen, boxing out, being in help side, taking the charge, making the extra pass, making, those things are toughness. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks, then you also have your
physicality. It was Wisconsin and Marquette, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're talking about a lot of physical toughness right now. Like, this is what your body is.
I mean, Buddy just literally – I'm watching the video right now. Buddy just literally got shoved underneath the rim.
Yeah. We're talking about a lot of physical toughness. But I want to ask you, what about mental toughness? What about when you're asked to do a play? What about when a coach comes at you hard like we talked about? How are you going to respond if you're a leader on your team? How are you going to respond? Okay, yeah, guys, that's my fault. Like, let me take accountability for that. That's really hard to do because your natural instinct is to be like, oh, I'm gonna draw back within myself instead of, okay, you're right. I got to get into my teammates right now. Like I messed up.
To shut down. Like, who is he talking to? Like, why are you trying to
watching film, being like, oh, I messed up here. My coach corrected me, and being like, nah, like whatever, or like being like, psh, like I'm not gonna listen to that. You're right. I got to be better in order for our team to be better. Yeah, that's really hard to do. That's really hard to do, but that is toughness.
That mental toughness of like being able to hear a message, and then go back out and execute what somebody just told you, right? Because it's not always going to be like, hey, Nate, make sure you're coming off. It's like, get off the screen.
Yeah, and pat me on
The
back.
message
like,
is this.
It's okay.
But he's just saying, I need you to get off the screen.
Yes.
I need you to stop hugging your man, get in help side, whatever it is. And like, that you have to do that small thing to make this puzzle work.
Yeah.
To make this car, this well-oiled machine run. You have to do your part, and again, mentally being locked in to a scouting report, mentally being responsible to go to bed the night before the game, putting the right things in your body, right? That the day of, all the time, all of these things. You think you're a college athlete, you can go do whatever you want and party on the weekends, but the real guys who are there for what it's worth, they take care of their body.
Go a step further, and you could kind of make it concise and put it into one word, and that's just discipline, right?
Discipline. You got to be disciplined, man. And discipline is
tough.
It's tough because you want to do what you want to do, and
whenever you want to do it.
Yeah.
There's a great quote from the movie The Great Debaters, and it says, I mean, since the time I first saw it back in 2008, this quote has lingered with me forever. It's we do what we have to do what we want to do. And I think that is spot on for really in any profession.
Asa, I'm going to start. Asa, I'm as well as doing a quote for Mario that we do every week, or that we do for our guests, or we try to do for our guests every week. I'm going to have to start doing a quote for you, because, that's 2 weeks in a row, Asa. You said last week, Mario, he said we have to minimize the I have to scores and maximize the we have to scores. Or shots.
We gotta minimize the I gotta score shots, and we have to maximize the we gotta score shots.
That's phenomenal.
That's a big fact. And you have to
Nathan, I'm a quote factory, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
You have to know who does what well, right? You have to know, as a player, as a coach, who am I putting in what position? All right, maybe they're not going to thrive in this position, and this is why I'm not getting the best out of this person. So I have to step back and say, okay, where can I use this player effectively? We had a kid named Trevor that could flat out ball, right? Could flat out play. But if you called a play and you were like, this and this, this and this, like my mind works like that. Okay, once the play breaks down, we're going into this, right? But he could not do that. And so we all came to an agreement, but he was too talented not to play.
Yeah.
So we all came into agreement when he came into the game. Hey, these are the 3 plays he knows. We're gonna work with this. We're gonna 5 out and let him play for this 3 to 4 minute spurt.
Yeah.
So he's gonna get me 3 or 4 buckets.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna pull him, and then we go back to what we do. But those were the things we knew. Okay, how do I maximize this guy over here?
That's unique. I really like that.
Yeah, because sometimes you have those kids, especially in Division II, and sometimes Division I, you got a guy that can hoop, right? But he can't play in a system because he can't run plays. He can't remember plays.
Right.
He's not great at execution, but he's a bucket. So you're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I got to get this kid some buckets. I need some buckets right now. So you just gotta take the straps off a little bit.
Yep.
And that's what I mean about being able to adjust to the player, the kid, and who you have in order to be successful, right? Yeah. Now let's say that kid may not fit a Lenny Acuff system.
Yeah.
Right. But he could fit a system where some guys get up and down. He could maybe play at Murray State. You know what I'm saying? He could go play at Murray State, and it's a guy that's a wild card. We all have those players on our team that's a wild card,
Yeah.
That roller coaster kid, is up 1 minute, down 1 minute, and you never know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah.
But, I think you got to be creative in those situations. That's another thing. It's important tangent, but Coach Stallings always used to tell me, don't get too high, don't get too low. In my freshman year, he used to be like, man, you're just he was like, when you're really good, you're here. And when you're really bad, you're here. He said, I need you to just stay right here.
What Hov say? He said don't get too up, don't get too down. As long as you stay the same, it'll come back around.
It'll come back around. So the whole thing is like just stay in the middle. You know, he was like, when you have that great game, don't get up, don't be on cloud 9.
Yeah.
Stay right here. And when you have a bad game, don't kick yourself. Stay right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and see, that's hard for like people like you and I because we're pretty. If you're similar to me, we're emotional people.
Very.
We're emotional people. So when I had a great game,
Me on the other hand,
yeah, I mean you're pretty. I would say you're pretty like even keel. Like
I think I'm pretty chill and even keel.
Yeah, but like Coach Alexander used to say, used to be like, yeah, you're just moody. I'm like, I'm not moody. And this is also like Coach Alexander did not say anything other than what he thought. That was just very clear.
But you know why he's saying that? Because we are the same. You know why he's saying that? He's saying that because, like, man, you can take the out the room when you come in here one day. You high, and then you got you hear, and everybody's rah rah rah, and then you come in the next day and you hear, and they're like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
You know,
and it's funny because my energy was probably pretty similar. It's honestly, it was unfortunate because like my junior and senior year, I was in so much pain that I did not enjoy going to practice at all. And so it was really hard for me to talk. And if I could go back, I would have tried to get outside of myself more and stop worrying about my pain and literally just been honest with coach and be like, hey, I need out of this drill.
They should have got you the vet. They should have got you the vet treatment, man.
But see, here's my thing is Coach Alexander. So my freshman year, I had just like, you know, you said it earlier in the podcast, the difference between being hurt and being injured.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hurt a lot my freshman year, like just like injuries that you would sit out for in high school. But Coach Alexander's a really tough guy. I mean, that's just who he is. That's how he played. So that's how his coaching style reflects. And so like whether my knee was hurting or something like that, I'd be like, man, I really feel like I shouldn't practice today. But he'd be like, I mean, it's a team game. He'd be like, I need you to practice today. So like I had to toughen up.
Go get the training you need. Go get your ice.
Exactly.
Whatever you need.
So I had to toughen up. So within the first 2 years, I learned, okay, if I have not been doctor diagnosed something, that I'm going to have to play.
You got to go. Yo, you have to go.
And so my junior year, I am struggling. I am struggling to walk. I much less play a basketball game. I'm struggling to walk when it comes to the end. My problem is I look around the room and it is Cam Miller has a broken foot and torn shoulder. He's already had these diagnosed. Doctor approved. Garrison Matthews has a torn groin and broken hand. Doctor approved, both of them. Aaron Korn has a broken shin, and he could possibly Kevin wear that thing at any moment, but he's still trying to play. Doctor approved. I mean, we got Josh Williams who's torn his ACL.
Yeah, I just worn down.
That was the year before, actually. Excuse me. But what I'm saying is we had 6 active guys without injury. Mm-hmm. And so when I was like, I remember one practice we're practicing up in McQuitty, and I mean, Ace, I couldn't move. Move. And I look over to the sideline, and I'm like, can one of you guys get me? And I look over, and it's
there's nobody to get you.
You know.
I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm like just miserable. So I literally, and I think Coach Draven probably thought I was joking at the time. I know he thought I was joking at the time. So we're in the lunchroom, we're in the cafeteria, and it's about to start the playoffs. We're tied for first at the time with Gulf Coast. So I guess we haven't played North Florida yet because that was our kryptonite that year. But we're tied with Gulf Coast for first place in the conference. And I look at him and I say, if we end up winning the conference tournament and make the NCAA tournament, I will not play another year of basketball. And he goes, ha, 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 and thought I was joking because, like, Coach Draven's my boy. I was like, no, Coach, I'm being dead serious. Like, I'm done. I'm in so much pain. Like, I'm not enjoying this right now.
I remember, and this is just how, like, it was for me. I would be hurt or whatever. I rolled my ankle. I remember rolling my ankle. We were playing the Harlem Globetrotters and like exhibition.
What?
We played the Harlem Globetrotters. My first exhibition game was Harlem Globetrotters.
I'm sorry. I just like I'm taken aback.
At Vandy?
Yeah, it was like they ballers though. It was like
they were actually hooping. They weren't messing around.
It was a game. Like it was yeah.
But I didn't know that was. I've never heard of
that. Might be the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
You should have started off the podcast with that. But anyway, I digress.
I rolled my ankle.
Yeah.
And I'm on the ground at half court in the game. Stallings walks out to half court and he stands over me and goes, "Oh, you better be ready to practice tomorrow." And he walked off. Dad was okay, nothing. You better be ready to practice in the morning. And that's just how it was. So, right.
Yeah.
So, I just learned to go to the training room. If I had a knick-knack injury, go get it taken care of.
Yeah.
Tape up and get to the other side. Be healthy enough to go play. My finger downhill was broke.
Yeah.
Coach is like, yeah, go wrap that up. He's like, Mike, pop it back in place. Wrap that up. We got to practice the ball. I said, man, Coach, I can't even catch the ball. Oh, you practicing tomorrow? You be ready to practice about tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's another thing too.
I'll say this. I'll brag on myself. Outside of when I was actually injured, right? Like the day that I got injured and then the day that I was cleared, I never missed. I don't think I ever missed a practice or a workout.
I don't think. Well, one time you were late for a morning workout. I remember that because you felt terrible. But I mean, that happened to probably everyone in college.
I did oversleep.
I know why, but I ain't gonna ask. So I ain't gonna ask. I know why.
No. It wasn't. He just didn't honestly know because
I knew my alarm didn't go off. I swear my alarm.
Sophomore year.
It was like sophomore, junior. It was sophomore year, but it was in the summer, and we had like a 6 a.m. lift, and we weren't rooming,
and we weren't staying in the same place because you were back home or you were either at the apartment and I was back home. It was one of the two because I would have woken you up if it was.
Yeah, I know. And I set dude, Nate, I swear my alarm did not go off that day, but we have been working camps all week, and so I wake up. So here's how I know because so I wake up at like 7:30 just instinctively, and I'm like, damn.
See, but you ain't got that alarm. See, you ain't had a fear of God in you though, so you ain't had it like wake up. So I used to beat my alarm clock up because I knew what it was gonna be if I showed.
You're right. That was so I did. That was the only time I ever missed.
We had a 5 o'clock.
That was the only time. No.
And we had a 5 o'clock workout.
I'm not saying I was worth a damn as a player, but
I would rise up.
I didn't.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Mario. I hear you. Up at 4:15. So here's my deal: is I would agree with Casey that I was soft when I came in. Not mentally, not necessarily physically, like trying to do the right thing, but when it came to injuries, I was soft when it came in. But by my junior year, like going back to what I was saying is it was just so miserable. I mean, I still look back on it. I'm like, I
went through some stuff, man.
I don't know how I played. I truly don't. And honestly, the more I look back on it, I was like, I was so close to coming back just for my senior year, just coming back for the conference tournament. And so I could be done because it was that much pain. And not just because I was going to be like, oh, that's because I'm done. But also because I was like, I could probably help our team. Not really, because I could barely move at the time. Everybody, I guess, thought I could at the time that I could play, but I was miserable. And honestly, if you were in my doctor's meetings, they told me, I don't think you should, I don't think it'll kill you if you play one more year. But I mean, you can, that's probably the max is you can play one more year.
I would.
You told me I need to have a hip replacement at 35.
Yeah, that's tough, man. So, and it becomes a grind. But again, now the kids are different, right? So now you go to a trainer now, they might say, oh, yeah, he needed a day or two. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to overwork and exert these kids because now you're starting to hear like stuff that never would have came out of a camp or a college.
Correct.
Now you're starting to hear all of this mistreatment of kids
that's crazy to me because the way I'm not gonna even if my coach is tough on me, I'm not gonna rat out my coach. Like that's my guy. Like
now you're hearing
they gave me an opportunity.
Now you're hearing a lot of stuff. I'm telling you, these kids are different. So now you hear, the coach was at Wichita State, whatever. Like
Greg Marshall.
You never.
Oh my gosh,
you think Fred Van Fleet would have said that about him? That helped him get to the NBA?
Never. And I'm not saying, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue this stuff because I don't want people to
I understand.
Think it's fair to mistreat kids or student athletes. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's just a different time. You know what I mean?
I agree.
We just took that on the chin and we thought it was normal, right?
Yes. Right. And we didn't have it like you either. I want to be very clear about that. Like, you probably got it harder than we did. I mean, Casey was tough, but it was in my opinion, it was very fair. It wasn't like.
Oh yeah, I agree with that, Nate.
Does
You're
that make
right.
sense?
You're 100%. It was
Yeah,
fair.
that makes perfect sense.
It might have been the fairest of anybody.
And that might have upset some people, but it was very fair.
Oh yeah, it was 100% fair.
Never
All
mind.
right, I got two more questions. One is kind of a selfish question, Nate. So bear with me for a second. Knowing me as as the player that I was, and that you've basically been with me since the 6th grade, seen me come up in in basketball or whatever. What do you think that like my strength as a coach could be?
One, I think that you have a high basketball IQ. I think you have a high basketball IQ. So obviously stepping into the coaching game, I think that's a big bonus for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you understand how the game of basketball should be played, when you should do things, when you should not do things. So I think that's important. Also, I think what's important is you're a likable person. Like, I think sometimes like people get lost in the fact that like it's important to be, you don't have to be liked by everybody, but it's important to be likable, for people to like you, look at you, trust you, and want to play for you. You know what I mean? So as you start climbing through the ranks, you're going to have to ask yourself, am I a guy that people want to play for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think, but I also think, if I'm critiquing you honestly, I think discipline is going to be your biggest thing. You know what I'm saying? Of how disciplined you are with your approach to becoming a better coach. You know what I mean? Like, are you eating, sleeping, and breathing, coaching, versus doing other stuff? You know what I mean? So I think discipline is going to be the thing that's going to take you to the next level. And once you figure that out, I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So, but I think your knowledge and the fact that you're you're good people. You know what I'm saying? You care, you genuinely care, which is a theme I've talked about all night, is you genuinely care about these people, basketball, no basketball, right? It's not a transactional relationship to where, oh, you're not producing, so I'm going to act different towards you. You know, I'm going to love you as a person and see you through whatever. And so I think that you have that trait, and you can be successful in anything with that.
I'm glad you said sky's the limit. I don't even know if you remember this, but when that first summer I met you at Penny's camp, you did the evaluations, and you wrote a couple things down about me, and then last thing you said was sky's the limit. That was back in 2007.
Yeah, I knew, like, you was different. You always had a little habanero in you, so you you always had a little spice in you.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Nate, do you want to answer that question?
I would. So I have two things that I wrote down. And the first one is, you have a level of care that honestly is close to unmatched. Thank you. And it's something that I don't even know if you realize it. And I'm gonna get a little deep real quick. So viewers, hang in there with me. You care for people on a different level. And at times, I'm gonna get into Mario's spot. I wish you'd care sometimes as much as you care for me about yourself, because you are a very special individual, very special. Right. And I'm not trying to get like sobby or anything like that, but when it comes to coaching, you have that ability to give that to your players, because you did that as a player, and you did that as a player. I'm sure you did that as a player at BA and at Brentwood, and when you were playing AAU basketball, but you definitely did it as a player in the toughest of times when you were not playing as much at Lipscomb. And you were showing people how much you cared about them. And it was getting outside yourself. It was on the basketball court, and it was off the basketball court. You were caring about others. So I think that is one of your biggest strengths. I really do. I think your ability to care for other people is by far and beyond your biggest strength. And my other thing is, you're authentic. I mean, it's very rare, I think. So everyone has a niche that they can get into. And you are a white coach, right? And I'm going to be very blunt about what I'm about to say. Coaching basically a black man's game.
Yeah.
I mean, more black kids are playing the game of basketball than white kids at the highest level. Am I wrong in that?
You're right.
So when we're talking about being authentic, you have that ability to reach these kids as a white male. Now, I'm not saying you grew up in the same atmosphere as them. That's not possible for you or me to comprehend.
But he grew up with me and Penny, so he grew up with me and Penny.
Yeah. Well, he grew up.
That's why I love it so much, man. Because I grew up in Brentwood, but I was so fortunate to be around guys like you, Penny, Jamal, guys from, metaphorically speaking, the other side of the tracks, right? And and I got to see a side of Nashville, a side of basketball that I otherwise would not have been able to see. And I think
absolutely.
that's why
I'm saying you have a level of authenticity that can relate to certain guys that most white coaches cannot.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Nathan and Mario. I really do. I appreciate that. All right. Okay. Thank you. Really, I appreciate that. All right. So, Mario, I told this to Penny. There's 4 people who kind of, when you break down Asa, when you break down my heart, there's 4 people who I kind of took from and molded myself after, and you're one of those 4. So I wanted to let you know that too. And anyway, so can you talk to us about what happened to Vandy?
So I compartmentalized that, man. It was it was tough. It's still tough to this day to talk about, but the short of it was my senior year, right before SEC Media Day. I failed a drug test. They said I failed a drug test and I had cocaine in my system. So I was like getting ready to go, get my bags packed to go to SEC Media Day. And then they called, was like, hey, man, come to the office. I'm like, all right. So I come up there and they're like, hey, you failed a drug test. You got cocaine in your system. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, I got what in my system? And I was like, say that again. I'm like, it was like, you got cocaine in your system. I'm like, I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. Like at this time, I barely even drank beer or any kind of alcohol at the time. Like I was like super sober. So I was like, wait, what? Somebody retest me. And it's like, nah, we can't retest you. It's probably out of your system already. I'm like, well, show me my results. Nah. And they just kept telling me no. And so that was like, I think it's best that you don't go to SEC Media Day. So they just told me to go home. So I remember walking out of the coach's office. I called my mom. And I was just crying. I was bawling, crying. I'm like, and obviously she's crying. And like, I'm like sitting in the hallway and I'm just like on the phone, bawling, crying, because I had already played out how everything else, the fallout was about to go. Mm-hmm. And I just remember like my mom was like, let's see what they say. Let's see what happens. And I called, I think Coop, and I was crying. I was still crying. I just remember I just went back to my room and I went to sleep. So they suspended me for 3 games. And then they drug tested me the whole year 3 times. 3-4 times a week. I never failed a drug test.
3 or 4 times a week?
I never failed a drug test. I never failed a drug test after. So I was like, they did that. I mean, he suspended me, then he brought me back. And then he just wouldn't play me. You know what I'm saying? So I just think kind of like the damage was done because I was fighting for myself. Like I felt like that was wrong. I felt like I was wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew at that point they had took my career away from me. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so I just knew. Like I just knew. It's like it didn't even matter what happened my senior year. I could have done anything right. Mm-hmm. I could have done everything right, and it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. Then they suspended me. So sometimes if you ever see me blink, I blink like that. Sometimes I have like a natural tic.
They try to tell you he was crazy for that.
So we was playing Georgia, right, game before the Super Bowl. And I just remember, I think Drew Maddox was actually the announcer at the time. Shout out to Drew Maddox. But he goes, man, I've never seen Mario this disengaged. And I remember watching the film, and I was just over there just like blinking uncontrollably. Blinking. Could not stop. And so after the game, they called me into the office, and they were like, what's wrong? I was like, man, nothing. What do you mean? They was like, you've been blinking for the last like 2 weeks. What is that? And I'm like, I've always done that when I'm stressed out. I have like a tic. It's just natural. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm good. Like, I'm fine. I just want to play basketball. I was like, I just want to play ball.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, Mike. So they had already was making a move on me. So they was already making a move. So I felt it, and they was like, so Coach Jackson called me to the side, and he was like, hey, man, I said, Coach and them think I should take a 2-week break. What you think about that? So I beat him to the punch. And he was like, well, if you take a 2-week break, you're done. Yeah, it ain't no coming back from it. Mm-hmm. So the next morning we have another meeting, and they called me, and then they was like, we think it's in our best interest for you to take a break. Mm-hmm. And I kind of glanced at Coach Jackson. I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to take a break. And he looks at the trainer, Mike, what we looking at, 2 weeks? We're looking at 2 weeks? He need 2 weeks? Okay, 2 weeks. And he said, so we're going to get you scheduled with a therapist, and then we're going to get you into a psychiatrist, but it's going to take 2 weeks to get you to a psychiatrist across the street of Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, cool. So I walk out of the office. I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't come to practice, couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. So they sent me to a psychiatrist. I went there and talked to the therapist, and then I finally went and seen the psychiatrist. I go see the psychiatrist. I sit in there, and we talked for like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. I didn't blink one time. And the psychiatrist goes, I'm assuming this is the first time you ever really talked about anything. And I was like, yes, sir. I was like, if your back was against the wall, what would you do? They put you in the corner, you either fight your way out or, what are you going to do? And he was like, well, man, I clear you to play. I don't think nothing wrong with you. So I called coach. I'm like, man, they cleared me to play. I'm ready to play. He said, we ain't put you on the practice plan. I was like, what you mean they ain't put me on the practice plan? I'm on the team. Just put me on the sub team, Right. Put me on with the booms. Put me on with the walk-ons. Now I'll come to practice tomorrow. So he's going to play LSU that Saturday. So I come back to practice Friday. He put me on scout team. We won every single game. I did not miss a shot that practice. So, come to get ready to travel. He's like, man, we can't take you to LSU. Yeah. Well, you can't take me to LSU. He's like, well, this thing. So, like Coach Jackson said, I was done. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? So, the rest of the year, I was on the team, it just wasn't. And that's what, truthfully speaking, that's why DeMar Carroll left. That's why he transferred. Yeah. Well, DeMar transferred. We lost our last game, and he came in the locker room, and for any program I've ever been in or any program I've ever been a part of, they were like, they think they're seniors for 4 good years. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They think they're seniors for 4 years, and I just remember he came in there. He was talking about next year. He didn't thank me or Julian for 4 years of service or nothing. And DeMar literally looked at me and was like, I'm out. Yeah.
You said DeMar Carroll.
Mm-hmm. He looked at me. My last game, we lost to Notre Dame. He looked at me. He was like, I'm out. Man. Well, like I said, though, it was something. It was tough to go through. You know what I'm saying? But and I went through a dark time after that. But I survived, and I think it made me who I am. It gave me my confidence. It gave me the confidence that you see me walk around with. You know what I'm saying? It gave me all of that, because I went through that worse, and I went through it, and I had to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I had to figure it out because I just knew that I was going to be able to play basketball. I just knew that I was going to be able to financially help my mother. I just knew that I was going to be do all these things, and it was taken away from me. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing and the smartest thing I did at that time, I just kept my head down and I graduated. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, fuck, I ain't going to get kicked out of school. So I'm just going to go to class and graduate. I would just come to practice, shoot the ball, whatever, and I just leave. And I just go to class. I'm gonna make sure I graduate. You know what I'm saying? So it was a tough time, and it was one of the toughest times because so much happened that year that it would take a lifetime to unpack. But it happened. It happened, and it's I ain't talked about it in 10 years. Yeah. People ask me about it all the time, and I'm just like, my mind doesn't let me remember it.
Well, I remember you saying back in 2011, like your mind doesn't let you literally, you can't recall it the way you recall it more so in parts as opposed to the whole thing.
So when I get to talk about it, I'm like, oh, and then this happened, and because so much happened, and then like I made that shot, that Oregon top 10.
That Oregon, yeah.
He had no choice but to play me. Red was playing so bad. Shout out to Red Gordon, and that's my guy, but he was playing so bad that game. He was playing so bad, and coach was like, he looked down the bench. And he looked down like 3 or 4 times finally before he put me in. I think I ended up with like 15 points, and I hit that 3D in the game.
Yeah.
Not want to play me, man. And
why not?
He just was like, it just kind of took me out of rotation. Like I was still the best guard on the team. He just, they was just like, oh, we're going in a different direction. We playing for next year type thing.
So that kind of confuses me. So was because to me as a coach, you still want to win. Obviously, you want to look forward to the future, but why would he want to not play you after you've done something for the program for 3 years and you've done so much? Why would he not want to play someone that's going to help them win?
I wish I knew, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing. That's one thing I had to kind of part ways with for me to be able to move on was like, I never got closure of that situation. You know what I mean? So I just had to figure out a way to just kind of move on. So
even still to this day, there's never really been no.
I mean, yeah, but no. But point being is like I was the face of that program. I was on billboards. I mean, if I could turn my cameras, magazines in here, I'm on magazines and
Super Mario T-shirts.
All of it, you know what I mean? Like, and then also to add to that, like I recruited every player that came on that campus.
Mm-hmm.
I was the host. Every recruit.
Yeah.
I hosted everybody that came on that campus. You know what I mean? And so, like, I feel like I gave a lot to that program for it to be ending like this. You know what I mean? So it just hurt, really. I was hurt. I was depressed. I was disappointed, because I had seen everything I had always worked my whole life for just flashing right before my eyes and going away, and there was nothing I could do about it. You know what I mean? And just seeing like the pain in my mama's face and like seeing, it sucked, man. But we come back from it, and
man,
that's where some of my coaching stuff came from. Like I vowed that I would never be a coach to do something like that to a kid.
Yeah,
I vowed that, you know what I'm saying. If I'm gonna coach kids, I'm gonna love them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna coach,
no matter what.
Because I'm the adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the adult, and I'm. Also I remember all those times. He sat in my living room talking to my mom, and it was like, my mom was like, I need you to take care of my baby. And that was the exact, take care of my baby. I got him, Miss Lucille. I remember all that. I'm very vivid with conversations that I have, and when people say things to me, it was just one of those times, man. It was tough. You know what I mean? So like it hurt me. It hurt my pockets. It hurt a lot of money. I lost a lot of money. But guess what? It wasn't meant for me. So I had to go figure it out another way. I had to get back. I left with a Vanderbilt degree.
Yeah, I think that's why I said that. A lot of people. I don't think a lot of people really understand that you actually did get your degree from Vanderbilt, and you have a degree from Vandy.
I graduated in 3.5 years, but they wouldn't let me. I was done in 3.5 years. So I ain't never been a fool.
Yeah,
Never been a fool. And at the end of the day, if you're a kid and you out there and you listening to this podcast, get your. You can never have enough letters beside your name. You know what I mean? Whether you want to go get your master's or your doctorate or whatever it is, be a lifetime learner. You know what I'm saying? And never let your circumstances dictate what happens next or what you went through. So
absolutely,
man.
You can have a bad season. You can have a bad game, and you can't let any of that dictate what happens next. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people. And a lot of people gave up on me. A lot of people turned it back on me. A lot of people quit on me. And I think, I had a lot of people that stuck beside me and supported me through that, like through those times. Your dad, Danny D, being one of them.
Yeah.
Major love to Danny D. Major love to golf bowling. Major love to my mom. You know what I mean? A lot of people supported me through those hard times because I think they knew me. They knew me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They knew who you were.
They knew and they was like, wait, this don't even sound right. Mario doing that? That don't even sound right. You know what I mean?
That's not Mario.
And so that helped me get back to me. Because I had lost my wife for a little bit, meaning like I was just unmotivated. You know what I mean? It just wasn't me. Like I didn't care about bad. I didn't want when I was in Europe, truth be told, I played 2 years. I didn't want to play. I was just over there playing because I was in shape.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play. I was in shape and I could hoop. You know what I mean? But like I just like walked away from it. Like I just remember we were in the semifinals, one game to go to the championship, and we lost by like 2. And I just remember like packing my bag, like, cause I was going home like 2 or 3 days later, and I was like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I had a contract to go back the next year to another team, but I had lost love for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Time going back, I probably would have let them win that easily.
Mm-hmm.
Going back, I wouldn't have let them win that easy, but you know, I just poured it into. I took what I learned from my hurt and my pain, and I poured it into other people. You know what I'm saying? I poured into other people to see them be successful, whether it was basketball, whether it was school, you know, whatever it was, you know, I went to that. So I think that was, man, it was a hard experience, as you can tell by my demeanor, but you know, it don't define me. You know, I still rep my team. I still, you know, left with a degree. I still got a master's. I still became a successful human being. You know, I didn't let that determine and push me another way. So that's all good over here. Good.
Man, all right. That's a perfect place to end it, Mo. Dude, I appreciate you coming on. Always a privilege to talk to you. Yeah, I mean, you've obviously been a lot in my life. Learned so much from you along the way. Had the, you know, you trained me, you coached me. So it's cool, man. Cool that we're here right now. You know, you in a good spot in your life right now. I'm happy for you. But man, yeah, I thank you, man. I thank you for coming on. What you meant to me, it's awesome, man. So I appreciate it. And I'm about to end it real quick. And I want to end it. I've been waiting to end the podcast like this for a long time. I've been waiting. So I'm gonna start it, and I'm gonna let you finish it, man. So first of all, hang on. So they can find you on Twitter at mmore615, right? Or is it?
No, let me see. I don't know.
I'm looking at it right now. You got at mmore615 on Twitter, and then I believe Instagram is mo615. That's correct.
_Mo Mo615 _.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you can find us on Twitter at Mind of a Coach 1. Asa, don't go looking for his. Still hacked. So I can't say the Ace of Spades for Twitter. At Nate5_Moran for Twitter and Instagram. But you can look for Asa on Instagram at the Ace of Spades. Asa, what do you got for Mario to end this podcast?
Hey, you know how we got to end it, dog. Stay young, stay black, stay free.
Whatever you heard, you ain't hear from me.
Whatever you heard it from me, man.
All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.